We love stuffing words in our characters' mouths. Dialogue is so fun to write. But there is a pitfall you want to avoid when writing dialogue for your characters. This thing can really sort of gum up the storytelling. If you're trying to keep your projects simple, approachable, and impactful, this yucky little bugger can throw a wrench in your plans. We're going to show you some examples, and then we're going to give you a framework so you can avoid these toxic little tongue waggers altogether. But first, what do these scenes have in common? Can you spot the pattern?
I love you so much that it hurts. Go ahead and get up so I can shoot you back down. All my life, I saw my dad beat up on my mother, and she took it. She loved him with all her heart. In my generation, love gonna kill you. That's right. Get up, eat your food. A woman doesn't mind doing things for you, but you have to treat her like you love her.
So there's a lot of talking in this scene, but what was she actually saying?
Dear Dana, it's been 6 months since you left. There's not a day that I don't regret what I did and how I almost took one of God's greatest gifts away from this earth. My heart dreads that day and everything that led up to that moment. I was so wrong. I take the blame for the failure in our marriage. I failed to realize the damage I was doing to you and our daughter. I apologize for all the time I put my hands on you. I apologize for not believing in your goals and your dreams. I apologize for not understanding your perspectives. I was so wrong. I take the blame for the failure in our marriage because as the head of our family, I failed to realize the damage that I was doing to you and our daughter.
She's reading this letter from hubby for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Real long time, okay? Very long scene. But what exactly is hubby trying to accomplish narratively by having written this letter to her? What exactly was the goal? Are you noticing anything funny yet?
Hey Spencer, baby, I was calling just to say goodbye and tell you so you know. I called the police station and thought I'd give you the courtesy of letting you know they're on their way to your job. I thought I at least owed you that, you narcissistic, womanizing, weak, feeble man. You made me feel compelled to you for 5 years. 5 damn years. And after all this time, I'm just now coming to my senses. You see, I'm just now seeing the light. All this time, you had me thinking I was the weak one, that I was the one that needed to be fixed, when in all actuality, you were all of those things. You were.
So she leaves Spencer a voicemail. Okay. I guess what exactly was she trying to do by leaving that voicemail? You probably noticed by now, all of these monologues have something in common. They're a little preachy. You gotta watch out for those preachy monologues, man. When your characters monologue about values, lessons, self-affirmations, it comes across as preachy. It doesn't sound like something a real person would say. With preachy monologues, you're telling your audience how to think and feel. Usually, this doesn't go over so well. These types of monologues make your characters feel more like caricatures, not like real people, just vessels for whatever the writer's messaging is. And you're also putting the message before the story. When you do this, the storytelling comes to a screeching halt. Just kind of gums up the pipes. Although writing monologues like this can be therapeutic, it's dead weight when it comes to storytelling. It just pulls us out of the story. They have the opposite effect of what you would think. Even if your goal is to spread a message, you'll reach more people if you bury the message in the storytelling. Cover the medicine in chocolate. We don't want to taste the medicine. We just want to taste the chocolate. Preachy monologues don't just affect the writing. It makes your job as the director twice as hard. If you give a good actor a preachy monologue, this is going to make their job difficult. It's going to be hard for them to give you a good performance. It's going to be hard for you to direct a good performance out of it. If you give a preachy monologue to an inexperienced actor or a non-actor, it's the same thing. You're fighting an uphill battle, okay? It's making your job twice as hard. So nobody sits down with the intention of writing a meh monologue. So I'm gonna walk you through how to make sure that your monologues slap. If you're gonna write one, let's make sure it slaps. But first, we need to understand the difference between an active and a passive monologue. Passive monologues tend to be full of exposition. Characters talking about things that already happened. They tend to be preachy, they tend to moralize. The dialogue is way on the nose. We're discussing themes and lessons and things. When a monologue is passive, usually the character isn't using the monologue as a tool to achieve anything. When you think passive monologue, think talking just to be heard. When a monologue is active, the character is using using the monologue as a tool to achieve a goal. They're using the monologue to solve a problem. This doesn't mean they can't reference past events or talk about their feelings, but the focus and the intention behind the words should be the obstacle that they're currently dealing with. They aren't just talking to be heard, they're speaking with a purpose. Now, obviously, we want our monologues to be active, okay? Let's look at an example of an active monologue from Breaking Bad.
Jesus, what was I thinking? Walt, please, let's both of us stop trying to justify this whole thing and admit you're in danger.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? Do you know how much I make a year? I mean, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. Do you know what would happen if I suddenly decided to stop going into work? A business big enough that it could be listed on the NASDAQ goes belly up. Disappears. It ceases to exist without me. No, you clearly don't know who you're talking to, so let me clue you in. I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
This is an active monologue. There's a practical reason for him doing it. It's about him asserting his power to Skylar. He's not really threatening her. He's not showing her his operation, right? He's not taking her down to the drug lab so she could see it herself. All he can use is his words. He's clearly monologuing to achieve a goal. If you want to make sure that your monologues slap, you should follow this framework. Step 1, identify. List out important themes and morals. Whatever you're trying to communicate in the story, you want to list it out. Step 2, appraisal. You should review your story. Do these ideas already come across in your story somewhere else? Is it already implied somewhere else? If it is, you don't need it. Okay, you can take it out of the monologue. For example, in the Black Butterfly monologue, he talks about regretting almost taking his wife's life, but this is redundant because we've literally seen the regret on his face in the scene where he almost takes her life. We could have removed that from the monologue, no point in mentioning it. He mentions not realizing the damage he was doing to his daughter and his wife. Again, this is already implied in the film, as we've seen scenes where his daughter is impacted negatively by his actions. He's obviously not aware of this because he's the one causing the problems. 90% of what he says in this monologue is either something we've already seen or something we will see in the next scene, or it's something that's already implied in the story. So you could cut 90% of this monologue. Ideally, you want to catch these things and remove them while you're writing the script, as opposed to in the editing room after you spent a bunch of time, money, and energy shooting it. Step 3, prune. Read your script. You want to check for on-the-nose dialogue, things that sound preachy, unnecessary moralizing, etc., etc. Pull that stuff out. And step 4, make sure it's active. They should be using the monologue to accomplish a goal. On a side note, if you're finding you have lots of ideas but no go-go juice, projects just kind of fizzle out on you. If you've been feeling siloed, like there's no one to keep you accountable, deadlines that you set for yourself just kind of don't feel real, you're not receiving any useful feedback on your projects, hey, let's get you plugged into a community of like-minded filmmakers with accountability, structure, and frameworks that optimize the limited time that you have. If you want to get back to shooting, click the link below for more details. Let's press on.
Step 2, move a finger. Just move a finger. Just move a finger.
For example, in my film Behind the Smile, I could have had a preachy monologue, but I avoided this by showing you her struggle. We can clearly see how debilitating her depression is. There's no need for a monologue about it. The internal monologue that she has is active. The focus is on the obstacles that she's currently dealing with. She's monologuing as a tool because she's walking herself through her daily routine to get to work. She's literally telling herself what to do to get past the obstacles that she's dealing with. As a result, the monologue just feels like an organic part of the story. In short, it slaps. If you are writing your next project, there is another scene in particular that you should avoid writing. Kind of kills storytelling, makes your films drag. Audiences hate watching it. I talk about it in this video here. It's a close cousin to the preachy monologue bit, and this sneaky little scene is surprisingly easy to accidentally write into a project if you're not careful, okay? I'll see you over there.